Well, as we start a new season of the podcast, so begins a new year. 2021 ended for many of us on a rough note. Many dealt with health issues, either personally or relationally. Some dealt with difficulties in the workplace, whether trying to advance, find a new job, or simply stay afloat. Now, through the last couple years, we've all learned much about ourselves, and unfortunately for many, we've realized our shortcomings or faults more than ever. Now, these visits that we share on the podcast are just the casual conversations I hope that you would have if given the chance. If you ever have someone that you'd like to hear, leave me a comment or send me a message on any of the socials. Let's encourage each other in 2022. That's something that we've all missed the mark on. Now, with that said, on today's episode, we're going to visit with actor and writer Eric Nelsen from 1883. We'll also visit with Texas singer-songwriter Jesse Daniels as he will share his story and some music as well. Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, comment, leave some feedback, check out the shop, and share with your friends. Now, what do you get when you mix Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with beer? Well, Budweiser is hiding 10,000 golden cans of beer in specially marked packs throughout the U.S. If you find one, you don't get a magical tour of the Anheuser-Busch factory. Instead, you get a chance to win $1 million. But before you get too excited, a golden can just wins you a chance to win. Now, you must post a picture on the can of social media and correctly enter the tag at Budweiser USA if you're posting it to Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and use the hashtags Live Like a King and Sweepstakes. Now, you can enter from now through February 20th. There will be a drawing of the entries on February 21st, and just one winner will be announced. Of course, your odds of winning depend on the number of entries received, and at worst, it's a 1 in 10,000 chance, right? Well, no. You can also enter by going to Budweiser's website and printing a picture of a golden can. Then you wrap that around a normal can, take a photo, and, well, do the social media post. The Yellowstone series has blown up unbelievably, and the new take on that, the prequel, if you will, 1883. We've got Eric Nelsen with us today, and first off, Eric, I'm excited to talk about the just started new series.
Well, first of all, I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, you know, it's been crazy. I mean, the fan reaction and the whole thing. I mean, you know, we knew coming into it, we had a lot of people excited just because of Yellowstone's success, but we had no idea what was going to happen once it started airing. And it's just, I mean, I feel like we're on a rocket to the moon right now, like, and it won't stop. It's just, it's insane. And it's been unbelievable and, you know, such a privilege to be a part of.
Now, Eric, I want to ask you about the timing. I mean, you lived in LA for many years, timing on a move and then a new venture. I mean, talk about how timing worked out for you in this case.
Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't happen this way ever, first of all. Well, my wife and I were living in LA, and we had just had our first daughter. And it was basically right when the pandemic was starting. We were like, hey, let's get out of LA. Let's go back to Texas, because that's where my wife is from. And let's, you know, have our daughter be around family and kind of out of the craziness of LA and all the uncertainty that was out there. And so we made the move. And then our whole industry shut down for about a year because of COVID. So we were like, all right, silver lining. We get to be hanging out with family and not have to worry about traveling. And, you know, once things did start to pick up, our whole mindset was I'll just kind of fly back for work and then fly back to Texas to kind of centrally locate here and kind of get out of the craziness a little bit, if you will. And then the pandemic kind of comes to an end. Well, at least our industry opens back up.
Right.
And 1883 comes across my desk. And long story short, go through the audition process, the whole thing. And then before I got the contract, and before I knew I was doing the show, I get a call from Taylor Sheridan. And he's like, hey, man, really love you. really want to work with you. Very excited about this. I heard you moved to Texas. Is that right? And I was like, yeah. And I told him the whole story on why. And I was like, we were in LA for a long time and now we're here. And he's like, where in Texas? And I was like, Fort Worth. And he's like, where in Fort Worth? I was like, are you familiar with the town? He's like, I'm very familiar with the town. Just tell me exactly where your house is. So I told him, and he pauses 2 seconds, and then he's like, oh, good. You're going to be 15 minutes when we're going to be filming most of your stuff.
Wow.
And I was like, wait a second. This cannot be happening right now. Needless to say, all of my co-stars were really jealous of the fact that I got to sleep in my own bed for most of the shoot. But the stars aligned on it, and, God is good. And somehow it worked out in my favor and didn't have to travel too far, which was also good because we ended up having another child, and he was born in the middle of filming. So got to be home and not miss any part of that whatsoever. So just, such a blessing. And as I said, those things don't happen in this industry.
Now, you talked about filming close to home, and I know that Guthrie, Texas was the location that some of the shooting was done, the 4 6s. What was it like being able, like you said, sleeping in your own bed, but also taking in some of the beautiful Texas landscape as well?
Oh, it was incredible. So yeah, I did have moments where I was, on the road, so to speak, in Texas, but still not too far away. Guthrie was one of those places, the 4 6s. It's an iconic ranch. I mean, it's legendary. It's some of the most famous cowboys in the world came through there and still work there and the whole thing. So just to be surrounded by that culture and, to be filming in the place that our story takes place in, it's just kind of mind-blowing. And again, that doesn't always happen. Normally we're on the back of some studio lot on Warner Brothers or something, pretending like we're in Texas. But in this case, we actually were filming where the story was taking place. And, in terms of the 4 6s, it was just, it was a bucket list for me, first of all. I feel like, my cowboying has, my skills have sharpened quite a bit since doing this show. And so I got bit by the bug, and I'm going to continue doing it, I think. And so to kind of get to surround myself by the real deal out in a place like Guthrie was a really cool experience.
Now, talk about the challenges of doing a Western and breaking away from maybe your norm. What was the biggest challenge for you to feel comfortable in your skin in a Western, if you will?
Yeah. So, I mean, this was my first Western to do, and I've been a big fan of them. I've watched pretty much all of them. My parents are really, my dad was a horse trainer most of his life, and my mom showed and the whole thing. So the culture was around me a lot, but never had the opportunity to be in one. And it was always a bucket list thing for me. So when it kind of came full circle and I got the opportunity, I ran full speed ahead with it. And it's funny because I'm not from Texas. My wife is, but I feel like since I've immersed myself in this world for so long now, and truly kind of, I think it's rubbing off on me because now I'm talking a little bit different. I'm walking a little bit different. I'm only wearing boots and cowboy hats these days, and I'm loving every second of it. So I don't know. I think not only getting to do the character, but I think it also changed me as a person too. And if I did Westerns for the rest of my career, I'd be a happy guy.
Now, you talk about your character. Tell our listeners, if they haven't checked out the series, if they've been under a rock, tell us about your character and what you've learned about yourself from the role as well.
Well, I play a cowboy. His name is Ennis, and he gets hired by James Dutton and his crew to kind of help them on their journey to get from Texas all the way up to Oregon. And eventually landing in Yellowstone, where the current series takes place. So he's this group needs him and my buddy, the other cowboy they hire, because we've done this trip before. We know the journey. We know what's up ahead and what to expect. So I've got a lot of skills as far as that goes. But I'm also I'd say Ennis is a kind of more of the light bright in the group. It's a fairly dark, gripping, raw show, right? And so Ennis kind of gets to punch through a little bit. He's got a little bit of comedy, and he's kind of maybe putting his foot in his mouth when he shouldn't be. And ultimately, he's also, a little bit of a flirt, and he's got a soft spot, I guess, because he's totally falling for the lead girl, Elsa, James Dutton's daughter. And Tim McGraw plays James Dutton, and he's given me a lot of grief for the fact that I'm into his daughter right now. So there's a great little triangle between the three of us happening right now. And this without giving too much away, if you haven't watched it yet, but this last episode, it really kind of shows where her and I's relationship is heading. And so yeah, it's been fun. I got that little edge because he's a cowboy, but I also got that soft side, and kind of finding the comedy in there too. It's been a fun role to explore, to say the least.
Now, who made you more nervous the first time you came into the room with him? Was it Tim or was it Sam? It seems to me that Sam would just scare the life out of you the first time.
Yeah, because I was just like looking at his mustache and I didn't know what to say. I'm like, oh my gosh, that thing should be framed. But it's crazy because I was probably, I'm equally as huge of a fan to both of them, for different reasons. But Sam did have the intimidation factor a little bit more. I don't know, I guess because it's Sam Elliott, and I've seen the roles he's played, and he's this really badass dude, and you kind of hope you have an idea of what you hope he'll be like in person, and you just don't want to be let down, or I'm going to be spending so many months with this guy, I really hope we get along. And well, within the first 30 seconds, I think he wrapped his arms around me, gave me a huge bear hug like he's known me forever, and said, I'm really, really happy we're doing this together. And that was all I needed to hear. I mean, from that moment on, I was just like, okay, we're going to be good. This is going to be awesome.
No matter what they throw at you, right?
No matter what. He's in my corner, so I'm fine.
Now, tell us, Eric, aside from 1883 during the pandemic, what was the big inspiration for you? I know you're a creator as well, a writer and all that. Where were your inspirations pulled from?
It's funny. I mean, I've been doing this industry since I was 13 years old. So it's been a long time now. So it's kind of, all I know. But I mean, like you said, I really enjoy writing. I really enjoy researching. I watch a lot of movies, a lot of television. And I've got 2 kids now. So I kind of get to, kind of be the funny actor guy in their life now too, making them laugh and, enjoying that time together really is the most inspiring thing for me. Is, kind of all I need to do is wake up and look them in the eyes and be like, okay, I got to tackle this day. I got to do everything I can. I've got 2 little ones here I got to take care of now. So that's the main thing for me. But, I feel like, yes, I've been doing this since I was 13, but at the same time, I feel like I just started yesterday. It's crazy. A lot of the times they say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And I've had more people writing to me and following me now and kind of reaching out since doing 1883. And, a lot of them are like, welcome to acting, what a great first gig. I'm like, well, it's been a lot of other things, but yeah, I see how this would come across that way. Cause it's definitely, the scale of it is on another level. But just going with the flow right now and enjoying every second of it.
Now, Eric, how hard has it been to keep up with the socials now as 1883 is out there?
It's been, it's been a lot, but it's very rewarding because I'm just seeing outpour of love. I've seen nothing but support, love, encouragement, kindness. So that's been wonderful. And really right now I'm just focused on my Instagram. I had to kind of turn off the Twitter and Facebook for a bit because that was where it started getting overwhelming. But as far as my Instagram goes, I love hearing from people. And I've actually been on Sundays doing these live streams on my page, where it's kind of my way of giving back to the fans a little bit and connecting with them personally, getting to answer their questions that they might have about the show or the characters or where things are going. And it's been going really well. And it's been really, really fun to get to kind of connect with the fans and with the people who've been supporting us.
Well, Eric, you mentioned it. I'd be remiss if we didn't give our listeners a chance to figure out where they can follow you. Also, keep up with the latest episodes and of course, streaming the ones that they've missed as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'm on Instagram at Eric Nelsen Official, and Nelsen spelled weird. It's Nelsen. My entire life, it's been misspelled with an O because that's the normal way people do things. But yeah, no, Instagram would be the best way. And, we've got episode 5 of 1883 coming out this Sunday on Paramount Plus. And it's a really, really big one for Ennis. So I'm really excited about it. If there was one episode I'm most excited for people to see, it's going to be this one coming this Sunday. So make sure you guys tune in and, reach out to me and let me know what you think.
Well, Eric, again, thank you so much for your time, sir. I'm looking forward to the new episode, and hopefully we can catch up again as we work our way through 2022.
I really hope we can do that too. I hope one day it's the story where you're like, I remember talking to Eric right when his show premiered, and now look where it is. But thanks for having me, brother.
That's awesome. Eric, again, thank you for your time, and look forward to talking again real soon.
Likewise, man. Have a great one. I appreciate everything.
Do want to say thanks to our sponsor of today's episode, Breezy Vapes, located at 1121 North Main. They've got Wacky Wednesdays, Super Saturdays each week, plus new hardware and the largest selection of disposable flavors in all of Southwest Oklahoma. For more information, you can give them a call at 580-471-VAPE. That's 580-471-8273. Again, Breezy Vapes, now located at 1121 North Main in Altus. Are you this person at home? 43% of people say that they're the one in their household who constantly has to nag everyone else to do stuff like chores that they've been putting off. Also, 62% of us have not done something just to annoy the person who'd been nagging us about it. And here are the 10 most common things we nag each other to do. Number 1, not turning off lights when you leave a room. Number 2, not cleaning up after yourself in general. Number 3, putting things away in the wrong place. Number 4, having the TV volume up too high. Number 5, dirty clothes on the floor. Number 6, leaving dirty dishes around the house. Number 7, not replacing toilet paper. Number 8, leaving the door open when it's cold out. Number 9, leaving your shoes lying around. And number 10, seeing something on the stairs that needs to go up, but leaving it there. Today, we're going to visit with Texas singer, songwriter, entertainer, a little bit of everything. We'll talk Jesse Daniel, got a brand new single to talk about. And first off, Jesse, it's a privilege to have the chance to visit with you. And thanks for taking the time, brother.
Absolutely, Cameron. Thanks for having me on, man.
Now tell us, Lookin Back, where did this single for you, where did this one come from?
That song was really inspired by just kind of a retrospective kind of song, looking back on your life. Everybody's been there, I feel like, where they've had either a relationship or a friendship or some type of decision that they've made in one of those things where they feel like they could have done something different. And that song is kind of somewhat of a fictional, story about a gentleman who, basically drives his wife to leave him, and then he's looking back years later wondering if it could have been different. But the song actually came to be my good friend Nick Foster. He's a great songwriter, and he was on the road with us for a while we were touring with Jason Boland. And we did a whole bunch of dates with Boland, and so we were on this West Coast tour, and we were heading back. We were in Colorado, and that's when the stay-at-home orders came down in 2020. So we all had to pack it up and go home. And we had a lot of time, in those weeks that Nick was still staying with us, to wonder what the heck was going on and to write, and so we just kind of used that time, and we came out with this song in that time.
Now, how has the songwriting been for you? That's something I love talking to songwriters, is how this last couple of years has been. Has it been better for you because you've had the extra time, or has that led to some writer's block, obviously?
I'd say a little bit of both, man. It's been kind of both, truly. I think in the beginning it was nice, to have the time. We usually are on the road quite a bit, and so it's a little bit harder when it's just go, go, go to be able to get into that creative headspace. But I was able to take a lot of the ideas that I kind of had for quite a while in the notes on my phone, or, stuff that I had written down, and really kind of put pen to paper and turn those ideas into songs. And so for that reason, it was really good. But then after a while, when things were still shut down after a few months, we were kind of all looking around like, when is this going to stop? When are we going to be able to get back to it? And I think that's kind of when some of the, I guess you'd call it writer's block would come in. But, I would do other things and kind of take my mind off of that. And songwriting, I can always kind of come back to. It just sometimes takes a little while.
Now, when did songwriting start for you? How long has the songwriting journey been for you?
I started writing songs and short stories and poems and stuff like that when I was a kid. I was really young, probably, 6 or 7 years old. And I always used to, have a pretty wild imagination. So I was always writing wild stories and stuff like that. And it just kind of, grew as I grew into an adult. It kind of turned into something that became an outlet for me, and it's sort of a cathartic thing to get through stuff. And I started using it in that way. And that's when I really took to it, and started writing more often and kind of writing country songs. That's always what I've had a passion for. So.
Now, who were the early influences, the ones that really inspired your sound and also the writing for you as well?
I'd say, probably top of the list for me would be Merle Haggard. He's, just one of my all-time favorites. And his songwriting, his voice, his song selection, even on the songs that he covered and everything, he doesn't get any better to me, and is a huge inspiration. But also just the fact that I grew up in a small town in California, just like he did, so when I found out that here's this guy from my home state who was such a huge part of that history, and that really just kind of made it for me and solidified him as probably my biggest influence. But songwriters wise, I love the Texas. I've listened for years to all the Texas guys, some of the older guys like, Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt. Big Robert Earl Keen fan also. So it kind of just goes from country to songwriter and back and forth, Now,
for you to see the reinvigoration of classic country, that sound getting kind of a revamp, how cool is it to be a part of the new era of that, if you will?
Oh man, it's incredible. Really, it's definitely experiencing a revamp, like you just said. That's a perfect way to put it. I think that the pendulum always swings, back and forth, and things will go more to one side, more to the other. And I think that for a long time, it's kind of been, obviously in Nashville, there's been a lot more like pop stuff for, the past 10, 15, 20 years. But it's really nice to see guys, coming out with stuff that is more along the traditional country lines, that are getting radio play, that are getting their stuff heard on major, mainstream radio stations now. And there's an interest for it now. Like we just mentioned earlier, in shows like Yellowstone, they're playing all this music and getting it exposed to so many people. And so I think there's kind of a reinstated interest in classic country and, more traditional sounds.
And you mentioned Yellowstone, 1883, and a lot of other filming taking place in Texas and Oklahoma, and has that country theme. We've got to get the music more involved in that too, right?
Oh yeah, I think so, man. I'd love to get involved with it. That's for sure.
He said, put my number, scroll it on the bottom, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, because of what we've all seen these last couple of years, Jesse, how do you look ahead to 2022 differently than you did 2021 and even 2020?
This year, I think it was a lot differently. It's a lot different in the past, looking at 2020 from 2019, we had high hopes, and then we went into that year and everything got kind of turned on its head. And so going into 2021, we were pretty, cautiously optimistic, but didn't really know what was going to happen. And we actually got to tour quite a bit in 2021 and get back on the road a lot. So this year, I think it's going to be with its ups and downs. I know not everything is completely fixed yet, but I think that it's going to be a great year. I feel like with that resurgence of, the interest in country music and in, just good music in general, I think that there's a lot of people coming out to these shows, and folks are kind of starved for this right now. It's been a weird couple years for live music, so I think it's going to come back with a bang,
Yeah, people will always be like, when was the last show you've been to? And I was like, it was always like, it was a couple of weeks ago. It's been a while since I've been at an actual big event, and that is something we all have missed. And how cool is it for you whenever you get to go out on the road? And for some places, it's got to be the only time they've had somebody out there playing live. How cool is that to get that excitement back from the fans as well?
There's nothing like it, man. I love it. I kind of live for that feeling, and we got to see, the crowd reaction really from getting to go back out on the road in 2021. And we didn't get to do barely any touring in 2022, at least the later half of it. I'm sorry, 2020. I'm getting my years mixed up. And so when we went out on the road in 2021, it was good to see people coming out to the shows, and we played a lot of places that, we hadn't been, or that we'd only played once or twice before. And we had a lot of sold out shows. We had a lot of people coming out and singing the lyrics. I think that was kind of one thing that the whole lockdown and everything was good for with the music, is it gave the people kind of a time to really hunker down with that record and, with their favorite artists, new records that they're coming out with, and really learn those songs and get fired up for whenever they got to go sing them at the show,
Now, how much did you have to grow the social media technology and all that? How much did you have to really delve into getting more comfortable with all of those different things this last couple of years as well?
That's funny. I was just talking with my partner Jody about that. It's funny. I'm kind of a caveman when it comes to a lot of technology. I know how to work an iPhone and I know how to work on a computer a little bit, but when it comes to Zoom, like, this is a fairly new thing for me and stuff like that. But it's been great, honestly, to get to know that stuff, because I think that's just where we're headed, and I got to get with the times, So I'm glad that I've kind of had the push to make me do that,
Now, who are the artists that you're going out with, that you're playing alongside of, that inspire you, that kind of give you that little nudge, if you will?
Oh, some of the guys that we've toured with, I got to say, probably one of the coolest artists bands that we've gotten to do some shows with and play with has been Mike and the Moon Pies. They're just a great band, great guys, and I think they're some of the best to be making, that more traditional country sound right now. So they're probably top of the list for me. We've also got to do some stuff with Flatland Cavalry. They're also really solid people, great band. There's just so much good stuff coming out right now, man. It's pretty cool to see.
And to be a part of it too. That's got to be even the icing on the cake, if you will.
It is. Yeah. It feels very special to be, doing what we're doing at this time, and to be alive at this time, to see this kind of era of music happening right now. And like you said, to be a part of it, I'm very, very thankful.
Now, Jesse, I know you mentioned that you had your guitar there with you. I didn't know if you wanted to strum a tune or something for our listeners.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, man. Got it. Can you hear me all right? All righty. I'm going to go ahead and play you a song off of the new record. This one's called Clayton Was a Cowboy. Clayton was a cowboy from Branson, Colorado. He never had a drink he didn't like. And every chance that he would get, he'd turn it up full throttle. I guess that's just the way old Clayton liked to live his life. His mama always told him not to worship any idols. Putting faith in man will almost always let you down. He was driving across the country, he was winning all the titles, breaking hearts a long way and living town to town. But out west of the Rockies, up in Northern California, through the riding and the roping, a young lady caught his eye. She asked him, would you like to dance? And he said, I've got to warn ya, I was born with 2 left feet, I can give it my best try. Nothing good lasts forever, doesn't mean you shouldn't try. They say it's better late than never. Hell can wait until tomorrow. He's got one more bull to ride. All right. Pulled into a rodeo somewhere in Oklahoma. The wind was blowing strong and kicked the dust into his eyes. He walked into a field that smelled flowers, sweet aroma. Said a cowboy's prayer and then he looked up to the sky. They paired him with an angry bull whose name was El Diablo. Tied the rope down tight, then the gate swung open wide. He bucked him offside, but his hand just wouldn't let go. Clowns all tried to save him as the crowd looked on and cried. Nothing good lasts forever, doesn't mean you shouldn't try. They say it's better late than never. Hell can wait until tomorrow. He's got one more bull to ride. Somber wave of silence swept over the arena as Clayton lay there dying on the cold and dirty ground. 'Cause Clayton was a cowboy from Branson, Colorado. His rambling days are over, this old cowboy's homeward bound. All right.
That's good stuff, brother. That's good stuff.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Now, Jesse, if folks want to keep up with tour dates, upcoming singles, social media, everything, where's the best place for listeners to keep up with everything you got?
You can go ahead and go to jessedanielmusic.com and you can find tour dates, music. You can buy records and other merch and all kinds of stuff on there. And then we're on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. It's just at The Jesse Daniel. The Jesse Daniel. Try to keep it simple for myself and everybody else.
And yeah, I understand that completely. Got to try to keep it all as close as you can.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Jesse, I appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule this evening, brother. I hopefully we'll catch up during 2022 when you make it into Southwest Oklahoma, brother.
Most definitely, Cameron. I'm looking forward to doing that, and we'll be seeing you soon. Appreciate you having me on.
I truly want to say thanks again for joining us for this first episode in Season 3 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, maybe anything else you'd like to know, you can hit me up on the contact page at gqwithcam.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at gqwithcam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, you can visit our merch store where we've got hoodies, tumblers, mugs, shirts, stickers, and more, gqwithcam.com/shop. And if you have a special guest idea, just email me, Cameron@gqwithcam.com. Again, thanks to our special guest, Eric Nelsen and Jesse Daniel, for being on today's episode, and our sponsors, Breezy Vapes, now located at 1121 North Main in Altus, Oklahoma. And of course, our good friend Brandon Allen for coming up with our theme music. We're going to let him play us out. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Good questions with Cameron Dole.